picture, our modern prophet demonstrates how Joseph Smith produced the Book of Mormon by fixating on a rock in his hat. The Book of Mormon stories describe the history of the Native American peoples from 600 BC to 400 AD. As a missionary, I spent 2 years showing pictures of Mayan ruins, claiming that they were the civilizations that the Book of Mormon described. At the time of my mission, Mayan glyphs could not be deciphered. Today, linguists can read the messages left by the Maya, but none of them correlate with the stories of the Book of Mormon. We must then look to other populations of the Americas that represent the many millions of people from the Book of Mormon. Could the goddess Maria Lionza represent the Tapir-riding people of the Book of Mormon? In 1922, B.H. Roberts presented the many archaeological, linguistic, and textual problems of the Book of Mormon to his fellow general authorities. In 1954, the church funded an archaeological search for the Book of Mormon peoples called the New World Archaeology Foundation. The search was led by a Mormon man, Thomas Stuart Ferguson. He found no support for the Book of Mormon narrative and came to believe it was fiction. In 2004, an Australian geneticist named Simon Sotherton published a review of the genetics of indigenous American peoples. He found no correlation with the Book of Mormon narrative. Michael Coe, a Yale University American archaeologist, said, "As far as I know, there is not one professionally trained archaeologist who is not a Mormon who sees any scientific justification for believing the historicity of the Book of Mormon." Thus, professional non-Mormon archaeologists, linguists, and geneticists provide no support for the Book of Mormon. Those scientists that have studied it suggest it has no validity as a historical document. However, there is a simple explanation for this correlation. Any scientist that adequately studies the data in their field will quickly know of the truth of the Book of Mormon narrative and become a believing Mormon. Thus, all scientists that believe in the Book of Mormon are converted Mormons. If the church would fund linguistic, genetic, or archaeological studies, surely the Book of Mormon people could be found. Genotyping by 23andMe costs only $100. This provides the data to identify an indigenous person as a Lamanite from Jerusalem. For a very small fraction of the church's wealth, the validity of the Book of Mormon could be proven. Why do you think a church with $100 billion in spare cash has not funded such studies?